This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
A vast universe exists within and beyond our reality. The frequencies that we can realize with our five senses are but a tiny part of all that is real. Welcome to the World Beyond Radio Show. I'm your host, Joe Weigant, coming at you from Evansville, Indiana. Our show is always designed to bring you the parts of the world that you didn't think existed and show you how they can help you better your world. We have a special guest today. Leslie Eyre hails from Toledo, Ohio, and recently moved to Evansville, Indiana. She is a medium who is capable of communicating with those who have left the physical body behind, and she is now a paranormal investigator who works with a team to go out and help people figure out what's happening in their homes when things start going awry in a supernatural way. Leslie, welcome to the show today.
Thanks for having me.
The pleasure is all on this side of the mic. We can assure you of that. At what age did you become aware of what you are doing, and how did that reveal itself to you?
Well, this is something that's been happening my entire life. Started as far back as I can remember, about 5 years old. Wasn't real sure if the things I were seeing were real. I have a pretty creative imagination, and a mother that told me that the things I was seeing or hearing was, imagination or dreams or not real. And it wasn't until about 6 years ago that I realized that it wasn't something that was a dream or my imagination, that it was actually happening. And then that's when I started to pursue the fact that, how do I prove that this is happening, and that I'm not crazy, and, is this real?
Was it frightening at first when you started realizing some of these things?
Actually, it's never been scary for me. It's kind of weird. It was almost like I was supposed to have done this, and this was something that was in my life's path. There have been a few instances where some things have happened that scared me pretty good, but for some reason I've always been pretty strong and determined, and in the moment when it's happening, you kind of just know what to do and handle it.
So when you're 5 years old, what were the things that you were seeing, and how did you react to some of that?
When I was a child, there were quite a few instances where I had sleep paralysis. I would never actually see much of anything, but things were in the room. I sensed them. There were times I would want to go running into the room and pound on the door to my mom's room and cry to her, but I couldn't get out of bed because I was being held down and wasn't allowed to scream or yell with no voice. It started out that way. And then as I got a little older, it started to become shadow figures. I would, see out of the corner of your eye something moving, and something's there, but you wouldn't see it. And then as the years have gone on, the more that I tried to not acknowledge it, it seemed like it got a little stronger, and they started going from the shadow figures to hearing the voices, and then now sensing them all the way around. I can smell, I can see them, I can hear them. It's just the whole shebang it's all kind of came together as the years are going on, and it's only getting better as I go.
Outstanding. What age were you when you were finally able to actually see them visually in your mind?
Seeing them visually in my mind right around the age of close to 18 years old. I started to get a picture in my mind of what you wouldn't actually see them through the eyes, like looking down a hallway. I would see them in my mind. And know who it is and what it is, if it's a male or a female. And then, bits and pieces would come through, and I would kind of gather those little pieces and figure out what they're trying to tell me, what they're trying to get me to do, or whatever it is that they need. And that's kind of the age that it really started to get strong.
And what kind of things would they be able to communicate?
A lot of times, a lot of it wouldn't even make sense. It could be, a guy that had passed away, a mile down the road, and for some reason he sensed that I could communicate, and he would come through, and I would only gather bits and pieces. I could get, wife, or he would show me, like, maybe how he passed away. I would feel a sensation in my heart. Maybe he had a heart attack. And then I would have to take whatever I could gather from that and figure out what he's trying to let me know.
Well, we're going to get right back to that in just a second here. We're going to cut away to a break. But when we get back, we're going to get more into how you were able to develop this. And you are listening to the World Beyond Radio Show. We're going to cut to a break for just a moment. And when we come back, we'll be talking to Leslie Eyre, a paranormal investigator and psychic medium.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying.
Welcome back to the World Beyond Radio Show. I'm your host, Joe Weigant. And our special guest today is Leslie Eyre, who is a psychic medium and a paranormal investigator and uses her gifts to help people understand the journey beyond death and helps to investigate homes and businesses that are having problems with paranormal and supernatural activity. Leslie, when we left, we were talking about how you were able to perceive spirit when it is around. There are so many ways that we can pick up information by hearing it or seeing or feeling things. Some people work with smells or tastes. How did you develop your ability to perceive spirit when it's near, and how do you focus in on that?
Well, once the activity got a little more stronger and things were more coming to light and coming more in my face, I started doing a lot of reading and trying to figure out what exactly I had really going on and try to understand it, and then learn how to use it and get better. And once I started really digging into it and learning it, I realized that I was a medium. That's what my gift was. And I started digging into it a little more heavily, and once I did, it seemed like doors were constantly opening to this gift and coming to light and showing me, okay, you did this, now you're ready for this next step, and you're going to experience something new that you haven't experienced yet, we haven't shown you. And it seems like the more I read and the more I learn, another door opens, and it's a constant learning process. And it seems like as the years go on and the more I do, the better I become. And I'm not the world's best medium, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that can do a lot better than I can, but all I can do is do the best I can do and learn and try to help people, because that's what brings the best joy for me, is to be able to help people that just need a few answers or just need to know what's going on, and it makes people rest easy just to hear those things, and it feels good to be able to utilize the strange gift for that purpose.
I agree. And that's precisely why I use my gifts to do that too. You know, for decades, there just was a serious vacuum of information about this kind of thing. And if you were able to find books in the library or, see any kind of specials on TV or whatever, for the longest time, it was of a very negative aspect on this kind of work. Where were you able to find your information?
Generally, luckily, for me, this wasn't maybe less than 10 years ago. So, the internet is very available, and being able to read other people's stories and get just about anything you need to know out there. But I agree with you, a long, long time ago, before the internet was so popular, it was tough to find information. And like you said, a lot of times people didn't believe in it or were afraid to talk about it because people that don't experience these things or know about this, they don't understand it, and a lot of times will refuse to listen or believe it. So having the internet is a huge thing. I like being able to get on people's websites and read about, their stories and how they learned and what, how they've gotten to the point that they've gotten to. And it really is inspiring, and it really keeps me motivated and keeps me moving and staying with this gift and helping the people that I do help.
How is it accepted by a lot of your family and friends? Is this something that you openly talk about that you can do and that this is what you experience, or is this one of those things that you're very cautious about who you speak about?
In the beginning, I was afraid to tell a lot of people. Only my husband knew, and maybe my immediate family and some friends. Most of the time I wouldn't speak about it because, for number one, I wasn't completely sure that what I was seeing was real. I was afraid that maybe it was a little crazy, and that I didn't want to talk to people about it and have them think that, oh, she's nuts, maybe she needs medicine. So I kept that hidden for a long time, most of my life. And then once I started becoming more confident and realized that it was happening, I started to tell more people. And as the word has gotten out, and, my friends and family, most of them know, they are accepting of it, and they do believe it. And they have experienced things with me to definitely believe that it's real.
Like what?
Perfect scenario. When I first met my husband, I told him, I said, don't think I'm crazy, but I'm going to tell you that if you are with me, you will eventually experience things. And I asked him, have you ever seen spirits or ghosts or anything like that? And he said, no, I haven't ever saw one or heard one, but not to say that I don't believe in them. But if I do experience, then, I'll know for sure. And I said, well, just be aware, because these things can happen. And a couple years went in, and, funny noises are happening in the house, and he'd always have an excuse. Oh, it's just, the house settling, or there's just, the dog, whatever. And one night, we were laying in bed, and it was generally everything happens between the hours of about 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the morning. And we were laying in bed, and we heard a shatter, and it sounded like somebody had smashed a window in the living room. And my husband's a Marine, so of course he grabs a gun and is going to clear the house, Marine Corps style, and goes through the whole house and doesn't see anything, and turns the lights on, and there was a picture that was on the mantle above the fireplace that was 3 rows deep of pictures. And this particular picture that was laying on the floor had literally come off the mantle somehow or another, and behind 2 rows of pictures, and smashed all over the floor. And he was kind of blown away by that, and he didn't understand how that picture was able to do that. And that was one of the first instances that he was kind of like, this is strange and odd, what's going on? Okay, maybe there's something behind it. And it was a sign on his side of the family, and later came to light, and to this day, he said, I'll never forget that. And that's kind of when it started. And then once he kind of started seeing it and accepting it, more things have happened. And he's a big believer. He's a big supporter. He tells me to read all the time, to keep pursuing it and not to give up, because he knows that it is real. And it's kind of a neat experience.
Now, was that picture particularly significant in one way or another? Do you think that the person that threw that had a reason for moving that particular picture?
Yes. I knew right away. At the time, he was going through some issues with his ex-wife, and it was a child support issue type thing. And basically the picture that had fell off the mantle was his daughter's picture, and it was basically somebody on the other side letting him know to be prepared. things were going to be coming his way with that issue with his ex-wife and his daughter, and sure enough, it wasn't even 2 weeks later he got some big stories. So that was
Hello there.
that was you there?
Yeah,
Are
the
you
phone
there?
kind of
Uh-oh.
glitched up for a little bit. Yep, I'm here.
Okay. So yeah, that I don't know if you got where I was telling you that it was a couple weeks later that some stories came to light, and it had a lot to do with why that picture had fell on the floor for him. You there? Are you there?
I am. Whenever the picture fell, were you able to feel who that might have been on his side of the family that made the picture fall?
Actually, I really don't know, and to this day, I really don't know who did. I don't know if it was somebody maybe maybe on his end, or maybe somebody on my end letting me know. I don't know, and to this day, I really don't know who was involved in that. But it was definitely somebody letting us know that that was coming to light, and we needed to acknowledge it.
What other kinds of things were happening that helped convince your husband that this is a real thing happening?
For a while there, he started to acknowledge shadow figures in the room. It was one night he was laying in bed, and he said, do you see something moving across the room? And of course, I always do, so it was like not unusual for me. But I said, you can see that? And he said, I'm kind of scared. Like, this is making me nervous. And I said, well, I feel like things are getting a little better for him because he's becoming more aware of the surroundings, and has started to go from weird noises to now he could see shadow figures. And he's had a few instances where there's a man that had passed away not too far from our home, and he visits my house quite regularly. And I see him all the time. I know him very well. He interacts in the house a lot. He just likes to come in and get acknowledged, and he hangs out and he leaves, and sometimes I won't see him again for a couple weeks. And he wears the same shirt, same pants. He wears like a plaid style dress shirt. He tucks it in, wears the khakis, the whole deal. And I've never told anybody that. And one night I was laying in bed, and I kept getting nudged, and it was him. And I told him that night I was real tired. I said, just go away, leave me alone. Not tonight. And he left. Well, apparently he went into the other room where my husband
Leslie?
was.
Okay.
Yes. You there?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the phone kind of glitched.
He had went into the other room and started nudging on my husband. And my husband opened his eyes and saw him completely. He saw his shirt, his pants, thought there was a man in the house, and it scared the living daylights out of him. And he jumped up and come running in the bedroom, and he said, oh my God, there's a man in the house. And I said, what man? He said, I don't know, but he was pushing on me, and I opened my eyes, and he was standing there. And I said, well, what did he look like? And he started describing him, and I said, that's just John. He said, John? Who's John? I don't know John. And I said, that's the man that passed away that didn't live too far from us. And he said, I never knew I would be able to see something like that. And I said, well, welcome to my world. And from there on, as time, the years have gone on, we're about 10 years in, and he doesn't ever disbelieve anything he hears or sees anymore. He believes everything now. So.
Has he learned to accept seeing the shadow figures walking around?
He definitely does not like he doesn't like that. He told me, he said, if I could just not see any or feel or sense any of that, I would be a much happier person. He doesn't like it. It freaks him out. But he deals with it, and he usually comes to me to try to help him, get him out of here, tell him to leave, or do something, burn some sage or whatever it takes, because I don't feel comfortable. But he deals with it, and like I said, he accepts it. He just doesn't like that side at all. For me, I'm just like, hey, like, I want to see who this is and interact with them. And he's like, no, tell him to leave.
That is true. That I worked third shift for 23 years and saw shadow all the time and never even thought twice about it. I thought that everybody could see that out of the corner of their eye, and it turned out not to be the case. But I never felt threatened at all seeing shadows moving around. So it wasn't anything that bothered me. But I know a lot of people that are really, really shook up over shadows. But we'll get back to that topic when we get back from our break. We're going to cut away for just a few minutes. Stay tuned. We're going to be talking to Leslie Eyre about mediumship and her abilities and how she uses those to investigate when we return to the World Beyond radio show. Stay tuned, folks.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying.
Welcome back to the World Beyond radio show. I'm your host, Joe Weigant. Today, our special guest is Leslie Eyre. She is a psychic medium and a paranormal investigator, and she's using her skills to help people understand the world beyond our world and helping people to understand the origin and nature of paranormal activity by using her skills and gifts and talents to be able to see into the spirit world and communicate with those who have lost their mortal coil. Leslie, we were talking about shadow figures before, and I mentioned that they've never really given off any kind of a negative vibe for me. I've never felt anything bad coming from them, but so many people that I talk to just simply do not like having shadow figures around. What is your opinion on shadow figures whenever you're looking at them?
Generally, for me, if I see something out of the corner of my eye, I kind of try to stop and figure out what it is exactly, because sometimes shadow figures can be a negative thing, and sometimes they can be something that's not going to hurt you or bother you. So I'm kind of one of those, if I do catch it, I need to know why it's not coming to light for me, and if it is, like I said, just a, maybe a past level and it doesn't have enough energy to produce itself, or it's just a spirit moving through, or if it's a negative energy. And I just got to kind of focus on it and see what its deal is. So I'm kind of I gotta feel it out first to say whether or not if it feels right or not for me.
Mm-hmm.
But they are always around. It doesn't matter what time of the day. You catch that little thing out of the corner of your eye. More than likely, it is a shadow figure or a spirit. And I always tell people, if you sense that, then that's your first acknowledgement that it's something that's an energy that is there that's trying to get your attention. And for people that aren't mediums or psychic, to be able to get that opportunity is pretty cool. And I always try to tell people, if you can sense that, then you have some sense, and you should accept that.
Do you work with a regular set of spirit guides that kind of help you out?
Yes. Between my spirit guides and my past family members, they guide me all the time. They, put the little whisper in my ear and say, this is right, this is wrong, or kind of tell me which direction to go. Yes, I do. I have one main spirit guide that really guides me, and then, like I said, a pretty strong backing in past family members.
How were you introduced to your spirit guide? How did you maintain that connection and relationship?
It started out about the age of 21. If something was getting ready to happen, or something bad or whatever, I would hear a male voice, and it almost sounded like it was audible, like you would hear it in the room. And at first I was like, what the heck was that? Like, that was weird, and then as time went on, I would hear it in my head, and it would say, don't do that, or we need you to go this direction, or you should be doing this. And I started researching the spirit guides and how to connect with them, and meditating and learning how to see them and hear them and know that that's who it is. And once I did that, anytime I need some good help or I need a good answer, I kind of just do my meditation and ask for help, and they're always there. And he definitely guides me in the right direction.
Have you ever worked with any spirits that are higher than just a regular spirit guide or a spirit traveler? Anything celestial or I hate to say more well known, but have you worked with anything like an archangel or anything else like that that's helped you through this kind of work?
I believe that I have. I believe that there had been a few instances where I've been in some pretty negative homes with demonic entities that were bothering me pretty bad. That's a whole other story in itself. And I had to learn how to manage this, because dealing with the spirit world, you're going to have to deal with them as well. And I knew it was eventually going to happen to me, that I was going to run into a demon. and I did, and I wasn't aware that it was able to attach to you somewhat and interact with your life after you have left those homes. And I called on for some help, asking Archangel Michael for help. And sure enough, it wasn't even a day later he came to me, and I actually believe that I actually physically saw him, whether it was maybe in my dream or it was real. But I saw him, and he came to me and told me that everything would be all right, and he would help me through this matter. And it wasn't no sooner as the next day this thing was completely out of my life. And it was from there on that I really do believe that the angels do help you, and if you call on them, they will come and guide you. That's their purpose, and that's what they're here for. And if you need them, they're there. So
Absolutely.
I really believe that he is a big part of my life, and he's there anytime I need him.
Absolutely. I also work with Michael as well, and he's been there when I needed him. So,
Yes.
What is the group that you're with that you do investigations with?
The group that I've been with now for I want to say probably 3 years. Interstate Paranormal Investigators. It's a small group, a good group of guys. Most of them, they got the whole setup. They go into homes. They got their cameras and their EVP recorders. And there's another man that's part of the group that he can sense energy. He doesn't see spirits, but he can literally walk into a room, and he puts his hands out, and he can literally feel an electrical outlet from about 3 foot away in a dark room and know that some type of energy is there. And sure enough, you get a flashlight, and there it is. So he's pretty neat. And then when they asked me to join them, I looked at it as an opportunity to get better at my skill and help people. And so I joined them about 3 years ago, and we go to homes and they do their little investigations. And I generally, when we get there, they will not tell me the story of what's happening in the home. And they have me go in, and I kind of do my little walkthrough on my own and basically get a sense of what's going on. And they love the fact that when I come out, I'm able to tell them exactly what's going on. And it makes me feel good to know that this gift I have is real, and it's honest, and it kind of blows people away when I come out and say, this is going on, this is what's happening in the home. And they're like, how did you know that? And it's kind of a fun little thing for me. It's kind of like a game, and it also is a learning experience.
Absolutely. For people like us that have these gifts, sometimes just receiving a little bit of validation is the world of difference.
Right. Oh, it makes all the difference.
Yeah. So are you the only medium that works with that group other than the energy sensitive?
Yes, I'm the only one.
So your validation comes from background research and title research and those kinds of things.
Right.
Okay. Now, how many investigations do you think that you've conducted in the last 3 years?
I would say it's slowed down quite a bit in the last year, but I'd say I've probably been on a good at least 20 or more in the last 3 years. And like I said, every time when I first went, it was a learning experience, and it seems like every time I go to another place, it gets better and better, and my gift gets more clear, and I kind of amaze myself every time, like, wow, I couldn't believe that I could actually do that. And it's definitely a lot of fun, and I enjoy it. And anytime that they call me or anybody asks me to be a part of something that has to do with paranormal, or I'm always in. I look at it as a good learning experience, and it makes my gift so much better. And I really enjoy it.
Do you make a practice of helping earthbound spirits to cross over in order to help solve some of the issues that are happening in homes and businesses?
I've done it a few times. I haven't really had an opportunity to really do that a whole lot and to understand it real well. I'm pretty positive in when I have done it that it was I was doing it correctly and it did work. But I haven't had too many chances to really fine tune on that and do that. Generally, when I go in, it's usually a communication. Somebody wants to talk to somebody or actually see what's going on. Most of the time, these homes, they don't want the person or whatever it is there to cross over. I don't know. It's one of them things. It's something that I haven't got to do a whole lot of yet.
I've been finding that a lot of times when I'm called out to places, they don't want the problem to go away. They just want to better understand the problem.
Right.
And I've been specifically asked not to make things go away or to make the issue stop. I think most people are really intrigued that it's happening, and it's kind of almost like a bragging point that they've got a ghost in the house or whatever. But have you also noticed that whenever you're going on investigations?
Yes. If it's something that is not really tormenting or scaring anybody in their home or wherever it's at, they don't want it to leave. They think it's kind of interesting and fun. They just kind of want to know what it is. Like, can you tell me, is it a person, or is it, so and so that lived here years ago? And they just kind of want to know so that when it happens the next time, they understand what it is and they can kind of respond to it. The only instances where somebody would want it out is if it's actually harming, or if it's a demonic entity that's causing harm or havoc in a house. That would be the only chance that you would hear somebody say, actually, I want this out of my house.
Now, what percentage of investigations have you been on where you're called out there because people are absolutely certain it's a demon and it has to be a demon, and then when you get there you find out it's just Uncle Ned wanting to say hello and everything's fine? Usually when somebody calls and is pretty positive that it's demonic, every time that I've ever been called, it has. It has been a bad spirit that may have, and sometimes I've been in homes where there was, Uncle John or whatever that was there, and he was being controlled by demonic entities that were already there, and he, was doing things to, convince the family members that he was there, but then at the same time, people are getting scratched and pushed and are uneasy and not doing well in their homes. So most of the time when it feels wrong, it's wrong, and it's not a good thing. Now, do you, when you're crossing people over, do you call in the light, or are you just convincing people that it's their time to move on?
I ask, for guidance, a small prayer, please, higher power, God, whoever's there with me, please, help me get this person to cross forward, to acknowledge the fact that they have passed away and move forward. And we try to communicate that with them on the other side. And generally, if they want to go, they'll go. Once you kind of open that door,
well, we're going to talk about some of your investigations on our last segment, but we're going to cut to a break right now. Folks, you're listening to the World Beyond Radio Show. I'm your host, Joe Weigant, and we'll be right back with our guest, Leslie Eyre, in just a minute. Stay tuned.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213 401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
What Happened in Benghazi is revealed by Nicholas Genix, author of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. He informs the American people that President Obama deceived them by advocating a strong foreign policy prior to the 2012 presidential election, and Hillary Clinton supported this deception. As the title infers, there is a connection between Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. Ample evidence informs Americans that Obama's early indoctrination in the Quran developed an affinity for Islam, why the Quran is the source of discontent in many countries, and why the Obama foreign policy deception led to poor military action and caused the loss of American lives in Benghazi. Genix provides 36 questions for the Select Committee on Benghazi to validate if Americans are justified to mistrust President Obama and Hillary Clinton. An overview of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi is presented on the website www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back to the World Beyond radio show. I'm your host, Joe Weigant, and as always, we're coming at you from Evansville, Indiana. Our show is produced and carried by the X-Zone Broadcast Network and rel-mar McConnell Media Company, headquartered in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. For more information on their network, or to listen to any of my own archived shows, or to see some of the other hosts that are produced by the X-Zone Broadcast Network, you may visit www.xzbn.net. If you wish to contact me about my show or about any other matters, or to be a guest on my show, you can contact me by email at Joe Weigant, that's Joe, Weigant, at xzbn.net. To get more information about my work, you can visit my websites, paranormalpeace.com and reikichoice.com. Our guest today has been Leslie Eyre. and she
Yep.
understand the world beyond the living by using her gifts to help people understand more about the world beyond our world. Leslie, what would you say in your investigations was your best investigation or your scariest investigation?
Hmm. I've had so many. I'd say one of the scariest investigations for me would have to be a home that I'd done in just outside of Boonville, Indiana here. And the family had called the group that I'm with, and they didn't tell me. At this point, I didn't know when I was called at the house that it was all these things were happening. I was just basically told that they were requesting me only, and that they didn't want the whole group there to aggravate whatever it was that was there. And instantly, I already had knew that it was not going to be good. And I almost turned it down, and from the feelings that I got, I almost said, I don't know if I really want to do this. But these people, when I had talked with the group, they said that they were pretty in a bad spot and that they were on their last leg with dealing with whatever was going on in this house and that they were really needing my help. So I agreed to do it. And when I got to the home, the whole entire family was waiting for me. There was probably a good 7 people living in this home, and there was the mother, the father, the sister to the lady of the house, and then about 4 kids, and they were all between the ages of about 16 down to about 12 years old. And the children were living in the upstairs, and there was 2 rooms on each side of the house at the top, and the boys slept in one side of the top, and then the girls slept on the other end. And when I pulled up to the house, they were all waiting for me outside, like so excited that I was there, and just started going off with these stories and telling me everything. And I kind of had to stop everybody because everybody was talking over each other. And I said, take me to where the activity is at. And so they said, okay. So they brought me in, and we went upstairs. And no sooner as I get up there, I just felt this heavy, dark, just terrible energy there. And it was definitely trying to avoid me. And got to looking around. I had the family be quiet, and I sat there for a little bit and kind of got the vibe that before they had moved in, there was some activity going on in the house. And I had asked the lady, I said, how long was this house empty? And she told me it was empty for a couple years, and that they were the first people to move in. And I said, well, there definitely was some seances, or some people came in, kids probably not realizing what they're doing, but they've called on some evil things, and there's a very evil thing in this home that portrays itself as like a teenage boy. And as soon as I said that, the one girl was like, yes, his name is, I don't remember what his name was, Tim or whatever. His name's Tim. And I said, oh, so you've interacted with him? And she said, yeah, he's like 18, 19 years old. And I said, okay. And no sooner as I started bringing him up, it sounded like somebody stepped on a cat. It was loud, as plain as day. You hear, meow. And I said, wow, somebody stepped on a cat? And the one kid said, that's not a cat. We don't have a cat. And I said, what do you mean it's not a cat? He said, well, it's a cat, but it's not a real cat. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, I see it all the time. It's a black cat. It's a shadow cat. And it runs around, and it makes these hissing noises and meows. And he said, it's not a real cat because I've chased it behind a dresser, and it wasn't there. And right then and there, I knew this is not good. So I asked the whole family to go downstairs and lead me up there. And so I'm sitting on the bed, and I'm recording this on EVP the whole time. And in the other room, I start hearing what sounds like something jumping on the bed, like a spring. So it's making this bouncing noise. And I said, I know that you're here. I know what's going on. I'm very well aware of it. I need you to show yourself to me, and we're gonna end this today. And it started jumping. The bed started moving very rapidly. And I went to stand up to go into the other room where it was happening, and it immediately stopped. And the girl that was with me, that was part of the group, was about to have a heart attack. She sat there and was like, "Oh my God, what do we do? What do we do?" And I said, "Well, this is what you've been looking for, and you're about to see what's really going on." So we went in the other room to try to determine what it was, and the kid heard us talking about it, and he came up the stairs and he's like, "That bed does that all the time." He said, "It's that thing, And I said, "Okay." So I said, "Well, what we're going to do is we're going to go downstairs and we're going to kind of check the whole place out. I'm going to leave this EVP recorder here on the counter while we go downstairs." So I left it running, and we go downstairs, and I start smelling what smelled like cat urine. And I asked that family, I said, "Are you positive you guys don't have a cat?" And the girl that was with me, she said, "I smell it too." And once again, the kid says, "That's that cat. It's that ghost cat." And I look out of the corner of my eye, and I see it run into a closet door. And I hurried up and went over there and opened that door, and it was just a regular old door, definitely not a real cat. It went through the door, and we opened the door, and it smelled like a cat box in there. And I kind of looked around, and everybody could smell it. And they got to talking about the cat and how many times they've seen it. And within a few minutes of standing there, I noticed the smell was gone. And I turned over to the other girl that was with us, and I said, "Do you notice that the smell is gone?" And she said, "Yeah, that's weird." And I said, "Wow, this place is just crazy." And we went outside, and I had a pretty good talk with the family about what was going on. There was a lot more things that had happened, but needless to say, when I had a chance to listen to that recording while I left that EVP in the home while we were not in there, this thing was extremely aggravated. It was hitting the dresser, breathing into it, growling. You could hear it making those crazy cat noises. And this family was in a real bad situation. And at that point, I had advised them on this was something that was out of my control as far as getting it out. I would be able to help alleviate it and calm it down to a degree until the proper help came in to get this out of their lives. Because it was scratching people, it was shoving people down the stairs, hitting, slamming doors, breaking things, starting fires, like just unbelievable things. And what's kind of crazy is these people were desperately needing my help, and I contacted the right people to get this thing out of their home. And when this group of people that were going to come get it out called this family and asked them if they wanted it gone, they didn't want it to leave.
They didn't want it to leave?
No. And to this day, it bugged me really bad. I tried contacting them and asking them if that's something that they were positive on, because when I was there, they were all in really bad shape. They were scared for their lives. They didn't want to be in the home. And then for them to say, we decided we're fine. It's not that bad anymore, and we don't need the help. And it kind of just is very uneasy with me. And every time I think about it, it makes me aggravated. I don't know if this thing that was there has some type of control over them and has convinced them that it's okay. But if I ever had the opportunity, I would definitely like to go back there and make sure that it is what it is. But I really don't believe that it is.
I wonder what would make them want to keep something like that around that's causing so much havoc.
I think that whatever is in that house, which I know it is definitely demonic, has a very strong power and is manipulative, and it knows how to control people. And I think that it probably backed down on its aggressive behavior and slowed down to a degree to play it cool, just so that nobody would go in there and remove it. And it has convinced the family that it's okay and they're fine. And it's scary because they really don't comprehend what they're dealing with. These type of things can destroy lives and make people crazy, and it's scary to know that thing is still there, and I really hope the family has moved away or something, but it just bugs me to know that they're still there with it.
Yeah, I've also dealt quite a bit with some of the darker elements of the other side of the world, and it's not a fun place to be, but that's kind of part of what I do, is get rid of those kinds of things for people.
Right.
Leslie, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on the show with us today. And for all of our listeners on the World Beyond Radio Show, thank you for tuning in. We will be back again and talking to another guest and bringing you the best there is out there. Thank you for listening today.